This is Akhiruz Zaman. Earlier today, 10th of August 2024, a significantly important news broke out in Iraq. They have legalized the marriage age to be brought down to 9 years. This news has spurred a plethora of discussions amongst various communities. Unfortunately, none of the groups are having the correct stand on this. So I thought it's required that we should clarify the correct stance of Islam on this topic. The three groups can be roughly divided into, number one, the Islamic or pseudo-Islamic scholarly groups, and they have no idea. They think it's alright. 9 years is alright because apparently, according to them, the marriage age of Aisha radiallahu anha when she got married to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 9 years. So that is their stance. Point number two, the non-Muslims are absolutely shocked and see this Islamic thing being disgraceful. They think this is Islamic and they naturally feel it's disgraceful and shameless thing that Iraq has done. And the third group is they're opposing the agenda, but they think Islam needs reform, and that's why. And this group consists of Muslims as well as some non-Muslims, and they're protesting that we need reform in Islam. How can this be in the modern society? This does not fit in. No way. None of the 3 points are actually correct. The fourth point, which I'm going to highlight, is probably the first time you'll hear this viewpoint, and this is as follows. This is an absolute lie. If there are categories of lies, small lies and big lies, 2 categories of lies, this would be a third category. There is no equivalent of this category. We are creating a new category to highlight to you the importance or the significance of the grandeur of this lie. Aisha radiallahu anha, for your information, for your correct information, did not get married, was not married off at the age of 9 years. She got engaged in around 16 years of her age, and she got married at around 19 years of her age when she was getting associated with the Prophet Muhammad. This is historically proved. Don't come back to me and tell such and such hadith quotes that. Hadith, there are authorities on hadith and there are authorities on history. These two are different. And even if we're going to discuss a little bit about the hadith, it is very clear that people don't understand the linguistic nuances of that time and that age. They have no idea about that. So even today, there are different linguistic nuances and standards across the various parts of the world. And for example, even for as basic terminology as sunrise and sunset, and we know, modern science agrees, and you would know more than me, that there is nothing called sunrise and sunset, but this is the terminology we use. Similarly, when certain things are obvious, for example, the first 10 years, the 10, ashara, is obvious, it need not be repeated. If we were to repeat it, it would assume that the person whom I'm addressing it to is intellectually challenged, and that's not what the hadith scholars intended, because they treated the other human beings who would eventually read their work and hear their work as having intellectual faculties to be able to decipher these, to be able to understand and appreciate these. They knew that the 10 years is known. In addition to the 10, how much more? So that is 6 or 9. So that is 16 and 19. And historically it is proven. There are various evidences to suggest that. And if you want historical evidences, we can create a separate entire session on that. That's a long topic. We'll do that inshallah. But for this one, this suffices. So point number one is that the legal age should not be made 9 because it was never 9. That is a demonic lie that you have spread across for millennia now, for centuries and millennia now. That needs to be stopped. Historically, it is proven. So point number 2, there is no reform required, as I have already highlighted through this evidence, because it is a perfect way of life and Allah knows about it. So only when you reach puberty, even for the earlier eras, for Maryam salamun alayha, the mother of Jesus alayhi salam, right? Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary salamun alayha. So her age was around 12, 13 years. So these are sort of ages, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, when the sort of things that were acceptable was the norm in society. Some people got married a little later than that, some at around that age. That is fine. But to claim it's 9, it's absolutely ridiculous, and it has no substantiated evidences in Islam. So neither any reform nor the substantiated hadith claims that you think that exists. And so naturally, those who are actually degrading Islam by quoting this event, they should understand, I agree with them that they have every right to bash, but they are not bashing Islam, they are bashing some acts of certain countries which they think is Islamic countries, which is not the case. So the point number 4 is what I just presented to you. The correct age, according to the established practice or law of Islam, is when a girl hits puberty. 9 years is not the correct thing. So hence, to cite the hadith and counter argue and fit it retroactively does not make any sense. I hope this news is beneficial to you and you do your own research. Meanwhile, we'll put together a collection of all the evidences to suggest to you how and why these things that I have highlighted further get substantiated for your ease and benefit. Thank you.